Picture the club owner everyone imagines, standing on a platform above the dance floor, bottles with sparklers coming out of them. A line around the block of people who couldn't get in. Somewhere on Instagram right now, a promoter is posting a video captioned "Made $80,000 in one night," holding a stack of cash. Here's the number that makes it believable. A bottle of vodka that costs the club about $30 gets sold to a table for $500. That's not a typo. A 1,500% markup, higher than almost any legal business you can start. So on paper, this looks like the easiest money on earth. Here's what that video never shows you. The average nightclub in America runs on a profit margin of 2 to 6%, and roughly 6 out of 10 new clubs don't survive their first year. A business with a 1,100% markup on its main product going broke. That doesn't add up, unless the business isn't actually what you think it is. Here's the real thesis. A nightclub isn't a bar business. It's a real estate and cash flow business that happens to sell alcohol at insane markups, just to survive its own fixed costs. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see exactly why one of the most famous nightclubs in America, a place that sold out shows with the biggest DJs on the planet, filed for bankruptcy anyway. If it can happen to them, the math in this video applies to anyone. Not every club is playing the same game. Each version below is a different bet on one question: how do you get people to spend more than they planned in a room they don't want to leave? The neighborhood club. Cover charge of $10 to $20. Cheapest way in. Closest thing to a normal small business in this list. The bottle service mega club. The Miami and Vegas model. Big name DJs. VIP tables. Bottle minimums starting at $500, sometimes hitting $10,000 on a single table. This is the version everyone pictures, and the one with the widest gap between what it makes and what it keeps. The day club. Pool club. Same bottle service math, but it runs during daylight around a pool. That means one building can effectively run 2 nights a day shift, and a night shift which quietly changes everything about the rent math. The restaurant to lounge conversion. A restaurant that flips into a lounge after 10 p.m. The kitchen license already exists. Lowest ceiling on revenue, also the lowest chance of going under in year 1. The promoter run club. The venue doesn't build the crowd, outside promoters do, in exchange for a cut of the door or bar. Less risk for the owner, also a much smaller slice of the upside. 5 different buildings, 5 different bets, all of them solving the exact same problem. How do you turn a room into more revenue per square foot than almost any other type of real estate on earth? Let's start with the obvious costs, because they're not even the expensive part. You lease a space, you build it out: sound, lighting, bar equipment, furniture, security, infrastructure. For a serious venue, that's $300,000 to $500,000 before you've sold a single drink. Now here's the cost that blindsides almost every first-time owner: the liquor license. In some states, this is nothing. Wyoming will hand you one for under $2,000. But in states that cap the number of licenses in circulation, California, New Jersey, parts of Florida, you're not applying for a license from the government. You're buying one from another business owner on a private secondary market, because the government isn't issuing new ones. In California, that price can run $300,000 to $400,000. Read that again. In some states, the piece of paper that lets you legally pour a drink costs more than the entire building. 2 owners can open what looks like the exact same club in 2 different states, and one of them spent as much on a license as the other spent on the whole business. Add it up. Build out. License. Opening liquor inventory, often $60,000 to $80,000 just to stock the bar. Sound, lighting, insurance deposits, legal fees, and enough cash to survive the first slow months. A realistic full launch lands somewhere between $250,000 on the low end and well over $1 million for a serious multi-room venue. Industry data on larger launches puts total pre-opening cash needs, including working capital, close to $1 million before serving one drink. And that's still not the part that actually breaks most clubs. That comes later. Here's the insight that changes how you see every club you've ever walked into. A nightclub does not primarily sell drinks. It sells access to a room and the feeling of status inside it. Alcohol is just the mechanism it uses to charge for that feeling. Watch the math. A club buys a 1-liter bottle of vodka for roughly $25 to $35. That bottle holds about 22 to 23 standard drinks. Sold as individual shots at the bar for $18 each, that same bottle brings in around $400 to $450. Sold as bottle service, same bottle, Same liquor, it goes for $500 to $5,000, depending on the venue, the night, and the table. You are not paying for alcohol. You're paying to skip the line, sit somewhere elevated, have a server come to you, and be seen doing it. The club figured out that what people actually wanted wasn't a drink. It was to be watched having one. And they figured out exactly how to put a price tag on that. Every design choice in the room exists to manufacture more of that feeling, because that feeling is what actually pays the rent. So the entry cost is brutal, and the real product is status, not liquor. Now here's the layer of costs that almost never makes it into anyone's back of napkin math, and this is where most first-time owners run out of runway. Liquor liability insurance, legally required in most states to keep the license. For a serious club with late hours and a dance floor, a full insurance program, liquor liability, general liability, assault and battery coverage runs $14 to $37,000 a year for a single location, and $40,000 to $75,000 plus for a high-capacity venue. That assault and battery coverage exists for one reason: fights happen, and clubs get sued when they do. Music licensing. Every song played commercially requires licensing. Budget roughly $1,000 a month. Security staffing, not optional above a certain capacity in most cities. Fixed cost, every single night, whether the room is full or half empty. DJ and talent booking. A local DJ might cost a few $1,000s a night. A major headliner can run past $50,000 for one night. Top clubs bid for DJs the way sports teams bid for star players, because the DJ is often the entire reason the room fills up. Monthly overhead. For a larger club, ongoing fixed costs, rent, insurance, licensing, base staff, can hit $160,000 to $170,000 a month before a single drink is poured. Sit with that last number for a second. You're not budgeting for a slow month. You're budgeting for a bill you owe, whether or not a single person walks through the door. Now let's go back to that Instagram video. The promoter claiming $80,000 in one night. Let's say it's true. Let's actually run the math on what that night puts in the owner's pocket. $80,000 in bottle service and bar sales. Liquor cost, even at the low end of the industry standard 15 to 20%, eats about $14,000. Staff for the night: bartenders, servers, security, a booked DJ, another $15,000 to $25,000. Credit card fees, breakage, comped bottles for VIPs and promoters, another $3,000 to $5,000. That $80,000 night just became $35,000 to $45,000 in gross profit. Before rent, before insurance, before licensing, before a cent of that $160,000 plus monthly overhead. And here's the part the Instagram video will never post. That overhead doesn't care whether every night is Saturday. A club needs several nights like that just to cover 1 month of fixed costs, and most nights of the week aren't Saturday. Monday through Thursday, most clubs are running a fraction of that number. Some nights, they're losing money just to stay open and stay visible. That's why the industry-wide net margin sits at 2.4 to 6%. Not because the markup isn't there, it's one of the highest markups in retail. It's because one great night has to carry 6 mediocre ones, and the fixed costs never take a night off. And it gets less predictable from here, not more. Friday and Saturday alone can carry the majority of a week's revenue. New Year's Eve can be worth more than an entire slow month combined, which is exactly why so many struggling clubs hang on just long enough to work one more New Year's before closing for good. Summer favors outdoor and rooftop venues, day clubs, pool formats. Winter pulls revenue back indoors. College towns swing hard with the academic calendar packed during the semester, dead over breaks. And January, right after the single biggest spending month of the year, is brutal almost everywhere. Operators who actually survive don't react to this. They plan for it. They treat December as the month that has to fund the January and February that follow it. So if you're actually considering this, there's a decision point early on: build from scratch or buy an existing club. Build from scratch, and you control the concept, the brand, the layout, and you're not inheriting anyone else's mess. But you absorb the full liquor license cost, a 6 to 12 month build-out, and the risk of opening with zero proven crowd. Buy an existing club, and the liquor license often transfers with the sale, potentially saving hundreds of thousands of dollars in a quota state. You may inherit a customer base, staff, promoter relationships. You may also inherit debt, a tired brand, deferred maintenance on expensive sound and lighting, and if the last owner failed, You're stepping straight into the exact same fixed cost trap that sank them, with less cash than they started with. Neither path fixes the core problem. Buying just changes who eats the first round of risk. Here's why this business keeps getting new owners despite those odds. It's marketed as glamorous and almost effortless. Show up, look good, collect cash. That marketing exists because the industry needs a constant supply of new operators willing to take on venues that, statistically, are more likely to fail than succeed. Inside the room, the psychology is just as deliberate. Bottle service isn't priced the way it is by accident once a table has committed to a minimum spend in front of their friends. Backing out feels more socially expensive than paying it. Lighting and sound are designed to keep people moving toward the bar, not sitting still. Drink menus are built so the highest margin items are the easiest to order, even where the VIP section sits visible from the dance floor. Separated by a single rope exists to make everyone below want to be above. The business isn't selling a drink. It's selling a small performance of status to everyone in the room and pricing admission accordingly. Now here's the ending I promised you. In 2025, the company behind Brooklyn Mirage, one of the most famous large-scale nightclubs in the country, an open-air venue that had hosted some of the biggest names in electronic music since 2017, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Its 2025 season never even opened. A scheduled reopening show got canceled hours before doors were supposed to open, over a missed inspection deadline. On top of that, the company was already carrying serious reputational damage from guest deaths connected to the venue in prior years, and debt it couldn't keep servicing. Read that again. One of the highest-grossing, most recognizable nightclub brands in America. Sold out shows with A-list DJs, lines around the block, still went under. Visible success on a Saturday night guarantees nothing about whether the business survives the season. If a flagship venue with a national reputation can collapse this fast, the math in this video isn't a worst-case scenario. It's the default risk baked into the model. Best case, a mid-size bottle service club, well-located, well-booked, hits capacity most Fridays and Saturdays, performs strong on holidays, keeps liquor costs tight at the low end of that 15 to 20% range. In a good year, an owner here might realistically net $150,000 to $400,000 after everything real money, especially if they're not personally working every shift. Realistic case. Same club. 2 or 3 ordinary things go wrong, because in this business, something usually does. A competitor opens 2 blocks away and splits the crowd. Discretionary spending softens for a few months. One serious incident, a fight, an injury, a lawsuit pushes the insurance renewal up sharply. None of these alone is catastrophic. Together, they can quietly turn $150,000 to $400,000 in profit into a break-even year, or a loss, without the owner having done anything obviously wrong. That's the honest range. Genuinely lucrative when everything lines up. One bad stretch from zero when it doesn't. So next time you see someone pour champagne over a $10,000 bottle order, remember what you actually watched. Not someone selling a drink. Someone renting out a feeling, at the highest markup legally available, in a room built specifically to make that markup feel worth paying, while, just outside the frame, a fixed cost was quietly running whether anyone showed up or not. That's the real business behind the bottle, not nightlife. The economics of making a room feel like somewhere you have to be.